y'all. Welcome to Malt Muser Whiskey Reviews. I am Eric. On the bar for today, Benromach Sassicaia Wood Finish 2012 Vintage Single Malt Scotch Whiskey. As always, here on the channel, Nose Taste Finish Review. This whiskey is coming your way shortly. I will tell you a bit about the value, give you my final thoughts, final score, leave this with a malt musing. But first, take a second, smash that subscribe button. You don't want to miss these reviews. I'm doing bourbon reviews, Irish reviews, world whiskeys, and of course, Scotch reviews dropping every Friday here on YouTube. I also have a Tuesday happy hour, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Would love to see you in the chat. Benromach Distillery. It is located in the Speyside region and rather unique for a Speyside. They are a lightly peated whiskey. Benromach, they are owned by an independent Scotch whiskey bottler called Gordon and MacPhail. And this Sassicaia wood finish is part of a series that they have been doing for some time now. There are 2 different releases in this wood finish series. They did one back in 2007 of the Sassicaia, and then they distilled another batch here in 2012. So here is the tail of the tape on this. This is the bottle. This is bottled at 45% ABV, aged for 7 years in oak casks. So distilled, it also has a distilling vintage 2012, bottled 2020. Taking a look at the back here, here's what it's got to say. Produced in small batches, Benromach wood finishes matured first fill bourbon casks for no less than 2 years from the region. It was first fill bourbon and then finished for no less than 2 years in hand-selected casks from the fashionable wine-producing region in Tuscany, which is where we're getting this Sassicaia wine. Sassicaia wine is considered a super Tuscan wine, a kind of in the Bordeaux style, and a quite pricey one at that if you're looking to find yourself a bottle of it. As for chill filtration or natural color, it does not say anything here on the bottle, nor does it say anything on the box, unfortunately, so we should have to assume that they have chill filtered this and added color. First fill bourbon casks for over 5 years. They get this written right here on the back. They give you some good information, but boy, it would be nice if we knew a bit more about the production of this in terms of chill filtration and color. Last thing you may notice is that this is a little bit different of a Benromach looking label. Benromach recently, I think about 2020, 2019, changed their label. They now look like this. But this wood finish series still seems to be in the old Benromach style. Which one do you like the most? Here's that bottle one more time. I've got this poured out in the glass. This is the color we are looking at. It is tough to say that they put color in this because it was 2 years in that wine, but they don't say, we have to assume. All right. So Sassicaia wine cask on this nice Benromach malt. Other thing I'll mention about Benromach, they do use dunnage warehouses, so they have earthen floors. It does give their whiskey a little bit of a nice musty funk. If you're fans of things like Springbank at Glen Scotia, among a couple others, you may find this to your liking. So here we go, on the nose. Wow. Very sweet red fruit. Candy-like almost. Maraschino cherry. Fresh strawberries. There's definitely a woody, fresh cut wood note to this. Slight peat. Going a little deeper, I'm starting to pick up some of those bourbon cask notes. A bit dry. I mean, the nose strikes you as it's going to be somewhat of a dry whiskey. A little bit of graham cracker butterscotch kind of thing going on. Hints of toffee and brown sugar. Okay. So the Sassicaia wine wood finish is definitely the star of the show here. Those bright red fruits are popping. You do have some of that kind of earthy, slightly peaty, musty Benromach bourbon casks matured scotch right behind it. All in all, quite a pleasant nose. Smells like it's going to be pretty rich and a little bit on the drying side. Let's give it a taste. Slange. Hey, Linson. Whiskey Cat, what do you think? Nope. Still haven't found a dram for him. Juicy on the arrival. Again, it's those bright red fruits, but it quickly gets very wood driven. Not necessarily like a heavy charred oak, but more like fresh cut wood spice with that peat. Not overpowering peat, but definitely can feel it on the tongue. Bit effervescent, juicy fruits in there. Hints of, again, vanilla, a little bit of caramel. Interesting. Relatively straightforward. Not getting a ton of complexity on this. It's a rather young whiskey. It's 7 years, so the Sassicaia wine cask is definitely doing a lot of work to round this thing off. But the youth does seem to show a little bit on the back end of this. I do one more neat sip here. Boy. Okay. A little chocolate. It really arrives nice, but boy, it doesn't take long for that spice, the peat, and the wood notes to really start hitting. Dries it out. Medium finish. Okay. 45% ABV, which is nice. Let's put some water on this. Yeah. Short, medium finish, maybe. It does pull up a little bit quicker than you want. It almost has a slight kind of cedar note to it. All right. Wow. The addition of wood has just brought out, I'm sorry, the addition of water has brought out even more wood notes. Red fruits taking a little bit of a step back here. Strawberries, maraschino cherry. It's nice. That fruit note is really nice. Maybe like a mixed berry note. A little more citrus coming through now. But again, sweet fruit, kind of earthy spice. Better. Prolonged development. More chocolate. Less drying. Touch of honey. A little bit of orange. Still a little bit on the hot side. Wood notes coming through at the end here. Medium finish. A little more vanilla showing up. The bourbon cask showing up more. It's balanced this out a little bit. It's not all Sassicaia. Medium finish now. Starting to get, again, there's that nice chocolate note. Okay. Let's talk value. So Benromach, relatively inexpensive, even in today's market. This one in particular, you will find US side right around $55 to $65. So you're paying about, yeah, you know, a little bit of a premium price, but you're getting a premium wood finished whiskey with the Sassicaia wine cask, 45% ABV. You know, in terms of course, we do not know about the chill filtration or the natural color. So, you know, we have to ding it for that a little bit. I do think, you know, all in all, for something with this level of a wine finish, you know, it does give you a little bit more value in terms of what they're asking. So in that $50 or that $55 range, you know, I'd say I would put this at probably a medium. Anything more than that, you're probably getting into the low medium range, which is why that is. I will talk a little bit about here in final thoughts. So let's get to it. Final thoughts. It's no secret here on the channel that I do speak pretty highly of Benromach and generally really enjoy their drams. This one, however, a little bit complicated and difficult of a whiskey. There's a lot to like about it. I think the Sassicaia wine cask really does bring something kind of unique. It is rather strong and overpowering. I mean, I think the 2-year maturation on the finish on this of the Sassicaia was done in a way to impart as much of that flavor as it could to kind of round off this youthful whiskey. And, you also have the first fill bourbon cask. So they were definitely using good casks. I think this is a pretty, for a 7-year-old whiskey, it's about as well-rounded as you're going to get. But boy, it does go on the wood oaky dry side, and not necessarily in a way that I enjoy. It's a bit disorganized. There's not a lot of harmony on the palate here. And while the nose does give you a sense that you're really in for a treat, I think this one kind of doesn't live up to it. So this 2012 vintage of the Sassicaia wood finish series, I think this is right around an average whiskey. If you find it on sale, maybe grab a bottle if this is something interesting, but this is not something I necessarily think needs to be hunted for unless you are a big Sassicaia wine cask person. So, in terms of a final score on this bottle, I'm just going to give this a solid 2.75 out of 5, which means I definitely would recommend you try this before you buy it. It's a competent whiskey. I do like Benromach's style. I think this one is just a bit disjointed and could benefit from a few more years of maturation. And again, we'd love to see this not chill filtered and at 46% at least. So 2.75 out of 5 here on the Benromach Sassicaia Wine Cask 2012 vintage. Let me know in the chat. Have you had this one before? What do you think? Have you had a previous iteration of this? Any other Benromachs that you really enjoy? Would love to hear about it. I am going to sip the rest of this dram, and with that, I will catch you next time here on Malt Muser Whiskey Reviews. So lunch, y'all.